That's a big question right now is the want. We were just asking that right before we went live. I can tell you about the car, though. We can tell you that car very tattered. It's missing 2 tires, a front and a rear tire completely gone. We were on the 5 freeway, and it looks like we're getting off the freeway right now very clearly. We'll get you a street. I believe this is going to be I'm going to give up on that right now. but making some turns there. Sheriff's Department behind it, and you can see they're not doing the pit maneuver. We do know there's a helicopter above it as well. They were talking about, it's Carmenita Road, by the way. They were talking about using the pit maneuver to bring this to an end, but maybe because of what those suspects are wanted for, they're not going to do that. Right now, going against traffic, you can see those types of moves. At one point, that vehicle going well into the 60, 70 mile an hour range on the streets, running red lights. That's the reason why the Sheriff's Department not giving up on this. A lot of times because of policy, because of the want, they'll say, you know what, we're just going to back off, we're going to follow it, but in this case, they are staying engaged in this pursuit. The number of people inside that vehicle, that's probably one of the reasons why you see so many of those deputies behind it. And again, the original want, if our assignment desk could get on that, that would be awesome. Maybe you can get that information before me. Right now, though, we're continuing down. We're going to be on, I believe we're still on Carmenita. And wanted felony suspects, that's what we're getting, wanted felony suspects, but the pursuit moving slowly, that vehicle missing 2 wheels. Rosecrans. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm talking to other people as well. Sorry about that. I believe that we're on Rosecrans right now, and we're going to still be in the Norwalk area. This is going to be right by the 5 freeway. That was the first time we saw that vehicle on any of the freeways, and probably one of the reasons why they're not using the freeways is because of the vehicle missing 2 wheels right now, or 2 tires. Rims made an eastbound turn, didn't catch the name of the street. Sounded like they said. And again, still in the Norwalk area, Sheriff's Department still behind it, and of course that helicopter above it. Multiple people inside that vehicle, multiple suspects. So this is going to be one of the ones where the Sheriff's Department, when it comes to an end, the driver is going to be the one they really want to catch, but they're going to keep an eye on all the others that jump out. Hopefully it's going to end in a more peaceful type of situation where the car just pulls over and these suspects will basically give up. Right now, though, I believe we're paralleling Imperial Highway, so I'm still trying to get you an actual street name right here. Still in the Norwalk area, and you can see that vehicle moving slowly, but a number of deputies still behind it. Are we on Valley View? Literally driving on the rims. And you know, one of the things is, you know, when you throw that word felony out, that could be many types of crimes. You know, this car might have been involved in some sort of hit and run. That would be a felony also if somebody was injured. That could be one of the reasons why we see so much damage on that vehicle and why it might have flat tires already. We don't know if those flat tires were there or are caused by the spike strips, or if this was from some sort of accident earlier. You can clearly see Vinny showing us this side of the car. You can see that rear wheel completely gone down there. So felony suspects, that's a really broad type of terminology. I mean, are these felony as in violent suspects, or did something involving a weapon? I believe it probably might be more like that, just because of the fact that they're not using the pit maneuver to bring this thing to an end. Definitely in a residential area right now, and again, still in the Norwalk area. It basically stayed in this little neighborhood the entire time. When we first arrived, it was over by the 105, 605 area, and constantly stayed in there. And you know, Vinny, can you push it any tighter? It's more request. That's it right there. Because you're saying there's 4 people inside that vehicle. You can definitely see 1 person and people in the back as well. But vehicle still making these wide turns out there, windows down, 2 flat tires, and now they're actually talking about possibly using some sort of pursuit intervention technique. Finally got that out there. They're saying 4, Vinny. So possibly they might be using spike strips and or maybe the pit maneuver. Looks like, well, Vinny's calling it saying Alexis, and I agree with him. It's probably something at a higher end type of, it's a Lexus. It's definitely a Lexus right there. Now we can really see that, and it does appear that it looks like 2 people in the front seat and possibly 2 in the rear as well. Looking out the window, they clearly see us as well as the sheriff's helicopter. Skyfox, the only media here at this time. But again, you can see that this vehicle is still moving. We'll get you some street names here as soon as I can figure out where they're at. But again, speeds have really slowed down, and that's mostly because of the damage to that vehicle. Marquardt. Marquardt. Yep. Marquardt. Oh, that's right. And you know, Mara, look at these making it's doing some indecisive driving right there. Keep an eye on it. Those high speeds, missing those tires. We're near Marquardt and Rosecrans. That's near the area. You can see that this is a residential area. The streets that I just shouted out are kind of major streets in this area. So again, though, weaving through this residential neighborhood, perhaps this is an area that he knows. We never really have any kind of information, but definitely a lot of folks outside, and we see some pets running around out there. Hopefully that was a fenced area. But again, you know, clearly this afternoon, this vehicle driving around, officers in the area, deputies in the area. This might be where this vehicle is registered to, because you saw that other car, that deputy vehicle coming the other direction. That's usually not the techniques that they like to use, and it seems like he knows this area. Again, a number of people out there on the streets, but now we're leaving this residential area. And northbound on Valley View, the deputies right behind it. They could really do the pit maneuver. You know, the speeds seem to be in that neighborhood. The vehicle already impaired, missing at least 1 tire in the rear, and there are opportunities where there aren't that many other cars around. So we'll keep an eye on this. This Lexus continues to stay ahead of the deputies out here this afternoon. Definitely impaired. That's one of the things. With that missing rear rim, that's the thing too, is you kind of wonder how long that this vehicle can ride on just that rim. You know, eventually that rim is going to start giving up too, especially just rubbing against the ground there. Just a little side note, we've in the past I've had people tell me, watching pursuits, they learned that you can drive with a flat tire. I always thought that was interesting that people didn't even realize that. Anyways, we're continuing on, making our way back on Valley View. Apparently, I heard the word Marquardt again, so maybe we're back on Rosecrans heading towards Marquardt. But this pursuit continues out here. Felony suspects inside that vehicle. That's nothing to play around with. These deputies taking this, definitely they're trying to keep their distance, so it makes you really wonder what felony that these suspects were involved in. This Lexus continues to run, and we're out here in the Norwalk area, very close to the 5 and Carmenita, but that vehicle continues to drive even though it's missing 2 tires. Southbound Carmenita. Valid suspect, yeah. Getting onto the freeway. Just telling you where we are. This is going to be Carmenita Road, getting back onto the 5 freeway. We'll get a direction here in just a moment. Got to give kudos to Vinny for some great camera work as we're doing a nice little pirouette up here with the helicopter, keeping an eye on these suspects. Something that has been the conversation inside the helicopter kind of makes you wonder how many conversations we're listening to up here. But definitely one of the things that has been mentioned is possibly when that rear tire went out, that could have caused the damage, clearly could have caused the damage to that rear bumper. And that might be one of the reasons why, because that the tire is missing when it came apart. It might have taken off part of that bumper. Definitely looking out the window, looks like we are going to be going southbound on the 5 freeway. Excuse me, northbound on the 5 freeway. Northbound on the 5 freeway, basically heading back towards that direction of the 605, 105, and that's where this thing was, where we picked it up to begin with. Right now, though, you can see he's on the freeway, doing a little bit faster than the traffic, and that is amazing with those tires missing. It must be quite a racket in there, and of course, it also, more importantly, it's going to hinder the performance of that vehicle. If somebody cuts him off or there's some sort of problem, that vehicle not going to be able to stop as quickly as it should, and hopefully that driver is aware of some of that as well. We don't want to see anybody get hurt in these types of chases at all, meaning the suspects included. But again, now we're going to be northbound 5 freeway. We're going to be coming up on Norwalk Boulevard here shortly. Pioneer is going to be the next one in the city of Norwalk. Sheriff's helicopter, like you pointed out, overhead, making most of these calls. Deputies on the ground, they're the ones that are going to try to bring this thing to an end, and when it does, they're going to be the ones that are going to have to subdue all those suspects inside that vehicle. Okay. Well, that would explain why they're not letting this go. We take a look at the number of deputies down there. When was the last time you saw a pursuit with that number of officers or any kind of law enforcement behind it? In this case, we've got the Los Angeles Sheriff's deputies down there, some of the best trained law enforcement that we can have here in Southern California. They're definitely the lead vehicle there. They're going to be pretty much in charge of bringing this thing, or when it comes to a stop, they're going to be the first ones to keep an eye on where the suspects go. The other officers or deputies will probably have to be involved in subduing these suspects if they run. Hopefully this is going to come to some sort of peaceful end where we've seen it in the past where the vehicle just stops, then they comply one by one, and we'll count them as they get out. Vinny did point out that the back seat does seem to be full, so that could be that questionable 5. There could be 3 in the back and the 2 in the front. So right now, those definitely slowing down. You can see that. Don't know if that's because of the driver or because of the car. That driver moving around quite a bit in there, and if it was involved in a dangerous felony and there's a weapon involved, deputies definitely going to be keeping an eye on any type of movement like that. They don't want to see that, because if there's a weapon involved, when the people start moving around, that could indicate that they're either trying to hide it or get access to it. So very dangerous situation, and of course the deputies are aware of this as well. The deputies I'm talking about, the ones in the helicopter, keeping an eye on that driver right now. That's right. You know, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And you know that's not a law enforcement motto, but that's basically what the law enforcement always does. They're gonna kind of keep an eye on this, on what's going on. Everything that happens at this point is suspect. These are suspects that are fleeing from officers. You can clearly see that they've been really trying to keep away from those officers, or in this case deputies. The vehicle has 2 flat tires. It is really starting to slow down, and I'm wondering if that's the car reacting to the fact that it's been driving on rims, or perhaps it's the suspects maybe discussing something in there. Hopefully the discussion is, where can we pull over? How can we get, how can we just comply? And how bad is it going to be going into custody just, before somebody gets seriously injured? Clearly, if this is a stolen vehicle, like you said, and we believe it is, they're not going to care too much about the condition of the car, so that's going to be out. But right now, 2 flat tires, this vehicle continuing northbound 5 freeway. I didn't catch the what they're passing, but I can tell you we're coming up onto the 605, so it's probably passing Florence right now. And again, slower and slower is this vehicle is on the northbound 5 approaching the 605. I'm just hoping they're not going to do that pull over and try to stop underneath an off-ramp. Those deputies on the ground, they won't have any problem seeing what's going on, but of course the helicopters, we will. The wheel's coming apart. That's right. There's some. Vinny just shouted out that there might be some other parts coming off of the vehicle. I'm wondering if we can get onto the other side of the car and see those flat tires, those flat rims, and see if there's more parts coming off of it. Is starting to really slow down, and you can see all the other vehicles. That's not traffic. That's a deputy right there slowing the traffic. And again, this might be the time where they actually bring this thing to an end, where they try to do a pit maneuver or just kind of bump it just a little bit to get it to spin out. That might just be enough to set off that fuel shutoff system and or bring it to an end. Here we go, this deputy really making the move here. Let's see how well he did in the pit maneuver school. Here it comes. There it goes. Nice spin out, and but just brought it right back to the front. There you go. The car did stop. And that's probably because the mechanism inside, when that happened, these modern cars, it's going to disable it. So you can see the driver basically just did the oh gosh. You can see the oh gosh hand gesture. So the vehicle stopped, and now we're on the northbound 5. It's all traffic's going to be stopped here for a little bit. Hopefully they will comply quickly. But believe me, deputies are in no rush to get these suspects out of that car, but they just want to do it the right way. What was it? That's all we've been talking about. There we go. Right. Yep. You're turning. Yep. Oh, it's okay. Well, you can see it right there. They called him out first there. The driver clearly doing the open the door from the outside. That's what that driver did. Again, don't know if that vehicle basically shut itself off because of that maneuver. We know in the modern vehicles that does happen. I know it for a fact. And so you can see right now the deputy's taking the driver into custody. Our pilot today, Adam, was actually talking to the sheriff's ship down there, the sheriff's helicopter, trying to clarify what it was, and he basically told me the same thing we've been saying. The vehicle was stolen and was involved in a felony. That's all they're really saying right now. But you can see that's 1, so we heard 4, possibly 5. We're going to find out. This is going to be northbound 5 freeway. We're going to be just past the 605. We actually just went under the 605 after that pit maneuver. So it's come to an end. All lanes are stopped. As soon as all those suspects get out and are in custody, I'm sure the sheriff's department will move their vehicles to reopen the 5 freeway. It actually is building very, very quickly. Passenger door now open, and you can see we're going to be probably seeing this repeated at least 4 times, possibly 5. You got the passenger getting out of the vehicle right there. And again, they're going to be one by one. Possibly this one, Vinny's shouting out that that's a female woman in the front. So you're doing the same maneuver, showing that there's nothing in the waistband, nothing in the pockets probably. And again, same drill. You got to walk backwards, to get on your knees, and they'll probably put the cuffs on them. And then, of course, you've got the people in the back seat as well. This coming gladly, happily to an end, and it's good to see that the Sheriff's Department, the deputies, using that pit maneuver once again. For a while there, they were not using it. It was not in policy. They were saying they were not going to do that pit maneuver. Now they brought it back, and you can clearly see worked very well, bringing this pursuit to an end out here on the 5 freeway. Yep. Door opening, yep. It looks like another female getting out of the back there. So, again, we don't know if there were 3 folks in the back or 2, but it's the same routine. You're going to do that little hokey-pokey dance where you got to spin around, make sure that there's no weapons seen, probably pulled up the shirt, doing the walking back right now. This suspect wearing a mask. That's it's good to see. And and a deputy, one deputy will cover the vehicle with a weapon out, and the other deputy is going to go ahead and put the cuffs on it. There you go. You can see that happening right now. And again, these are, if anybody's watching and saying, why are they being so rough? Why are they, they're doing this in a timely fashion. It's not a all the niceties have gone away when that vehicle basically didn't pull over when the lights and sirens came on at the very, very beginning. So that's one of the reasons, but we haven't seen anything out of policy or anything like that at all. These deputies actually, to the letter, have been taking care of business out here. There you go, another door, the door opening, another person getting out. Again, we don't know if there's going to be 3 in the back or if this is the last one, but the same deal here. Make sure there's nothing in the waistband, and making their way back, and going to be the same deal. If this is the last one, perhaps they won't be covering that vehicle with the weapon, but so this might be the last person right there. But again, they're going to have to clear that car and find a way to get it off the freeway. If the California Highway Patrol was here, they'd probably just push it off. But the Sheriff's Department, this might be a few minutes before they're going to be able to reopen the 5 freeway northbound. 4. Yep. That's the way, that's the count we have up here as well. Now, there's a possibility that there might be a 5th person in there, but it just from the way it looks, it might not be. So we're going to, yep, nope, there was. There goes, the door just popped open. So this is number 5. So, and the door opened and closed. This is probably because the deputies want that person to get out the same way. There you go, and that's another male suspect right there. Same drill, making sure that there's no weapons or easily accessible weapons. And of course, they're the same type of deal. Going to have to walk backwards, get those cuffs on, and then of course the process of patting down and processing those suspects is going to start here in the field. Again, though, they're going to have to clear that vehicle, make sure that there's nothing, no other suspects or somebody in the trunk that we've always seen, and then of course they've got to get it off the roadway to reopen the 5. That's it. Yep. And again, this is the moment where if we see the deputies make the approach, they can clearly see inside the car. Didn't seem to have any tinted windows, so they've probably got a clear view inside that vehicle. But again, like you said earlier, they always have to assume something might be up. So there might be somebody else hiding in there, or perhaps there's not. But right now you can see the deputies kind of waiting. So I'm kind of curious if there's going to be 6 people inside this car. But right now the doors seem to be open and the deputies are waiting, or at least making out. There we go. Now they're walking over there. So they're going to clear the vehicle here, and we'll see shortly. But I'm sure there is nobody else in there. And of course, first thing, check the trunk. And then of course they're going to have to try to open the trunk. Show the backup real quick. On the 5 freeway, definitely, and it's well past the 605 freeway. I would probably say about a mile or so, and this is completely stopped. And again, even if they move it off right now, it's going to be a while before the 5 recovers. But there's a lot of vehicles out there because it is a full closure, northbound 5 freeway, just past the 605. They're doing okay, everybody, good job, good job. Bob, you need to tighten it up next time. You know, you were falling behind there. Yeah, that's probably what it is.